Simon is joining me in the studio. Simon, how's it going? You're very welcome indeed.
Thanks very much for having me up, Tommy. It's great to be back here again. It's been a while since I've been up here with you.
Simon, the last time you were up here with me were just after writing a song about your uncle Michael.
That's right. So that was over 2 years ago now. So that was a right while ago, definitely. That's right. That was a very special song for me, obviously, because it's about an uncle of mine that passed away, and it done very well for me, thank God, and still doing very well. And hopefully, actually, I'll have a video out for that song in the next couple of months as well. So you can keep an eye out for that as well.
And come here, before we talk about Whippy Doo and your new single, we were just talking off here about how long you've been into music. You started off when you were only a young fella. I remember George Hamilton IV took a big interest in you, and I remember we were out in Nashville one year, do you remember? And
that's right.
How did it all start off for you in the first place, when you started off first?
It was my uncle's wedding, and Eamon McCann was the band at the wedding, and I had wrote a song at that time called The Offaly Rover about John Hogan, and I went up with Eamon McCann's band, played that song, and it kind of went from there. Eamon told me to record it and stuff. I recorded it and went from there, just started getting guest spots, and we're here today, Tommy, with you.
That was a great experience to Nashville. I remember your mum and dad were out, and we actually met George Hamilton backstage at the Opry. But the songwriters, well, you had another great song out on one of your albums. It was a kind of a tribute to Merle Haggard, one you wrote yourself.
That's right, Tommy. I wrote that one. Believe it or not, I actually wrote that song maybe 4 or 5 years before it was released.
Yeah.
And then I just took a notion one night. I was flicking through songs I had half written and whatever, and that one came up, and I finished it, not realising that Merle Haggard was actually severely ill at the time, and I passed away 2 weeks later after I had finished the song. So obviously after that, I thought it would be a good tribute to him to get into the studio, get it recorded, and put it on my latest album.
When you recorded first, when you were a young lad, not that you're not an old lad now, but did any of your friends think, this is strange, Simon, into the country music, because a lot of young ones would be more into the pop of the day rather than country music?
Well, back then, I think it might have been a wee bit strange for someone my age to be into country music, but I think nowadays it's a lot more popular, so back then it might have been looked upon as if, Jesus, it's strange that Simon's into country music, but I think now he's into country music as well as everyone else. It's quite big now, especially with the likes of Country to Country coming to Belfast and stuff and bringing the American artists here. I think country music in Ireland, Irish and American country, has grown drastically.
Yeah, I know your dad was big into the country and he loves his traditional country. It's changed since we were out in Nashville that time in the early noughties. It's changed big time now, hasn't it? From traditional to what it is now. Like when you think, there's Beyonce, number one last
No, definitely.
Save us all, honest to God.
There's a lot changing out there. I was over there last April as well. I'm working with a record label on Music Row at the moment, and that's why we chose Whoop to Do. That was the song that they've seen me video. I done a video with Hot Country TV, and we put it on Facebook, and I got hundreds of thousands of views inside 24 hours. And it was actually the record label saw the video there and contacted me via email. And that's how we got over there. But
did you write that song yourself?
I didn't write that song. No, that's I'm gonna forget the name of the guy that wrote that. Keith Gaddis. That was an old Keith Gaddis song that I had at home for years. My dad always listened to it, and I think we kind of always overlooked it because we'd known the song for years. And when we were picking songs for a single, me and my dad just sat down. We picked that one, and it went really well for us.
One thing I noticed about you, Simon, and not just trying to be patronising or anything like that, but any of the songs you did record, you recorded them well, you got them done in a good studio, but not only that, but whether your dad or who chose the songs, you weren't picking songs like a lot of the artists that are around today. They're doing covers of old Brad Paisley or all American songs, and they all seem to be doing the same song. Songs you've recorded down through the years were all kind of different. They were country, but they were different in, the local. How did you come about choosing them? Was it just...
It's the music that I grew up on. It's the stuff that I always listened to was that older style country. And obviously when you go into the studio to record a song, your biggest fear is that someone else is going to record the same song. So you do try and go back a bit far to try and get a song that maybe not many other people would know. So when someone hears it on the radio, they relate it back to you instead of relating it to the original artist. So kind of to get yourself more recognised, I tried to pick up more songs that are more original to me.
And recently now you brought out, as I said, the last one I remember playing was the one you wrote for your Uncle Michael. Was that the last recording before this new single has come out, or had you anything?
I had single out there as well called "What Am I Worth." It was an old George
Oh
Jones
yeah,
song.
yeah. I think I have that.
Yeah, old George Jones song. Also, Sammy Kershaw's version was the version that I actually learned it from as well. So that was my latest single. That one that went pretty well for me as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like if you look how many songs there is out there that hasn't been recorded by. I was talking to somebody else about that the other day. About there's that many songs. Like I have that many country albums. And every so often at home, I would go through them just to see, rather than playing the same Merle Haggard songs all the time. I came across a few Merle Haggard songs and albums that I had, and I never played them before, and I started playing them now. There was an old Porter Ragnar song too that Mick Flavin had on. I heard Mick Flavin sing it in Glorchair, and I said, God, I wonder who did the original.
Yeah.
And I seen it was Porter. I think it's called Your Time Was Come or something like that. But it's a great song, and like there's forgotten songs like on Randy Travis albums, or as you mentioned, your new song now is it's a cover too, isn't it, of a guy who wouldn't have been a big name artist, but he was.
He done a couple of albums. That's right. Jeff Griffith again. I think that his album was took out in 2007, and it was actually a good friend of mine from. I'm not going to say where he's from because I can't actually remember, but he's from Donegal, Martin Fury.
Oh yeah.
Martin actually gave me the song, and he told me that he thought it'd be a great song for me. And I'd say that was maybe 10 years ago. Martin gave me that song, and it was always on the list to record, but I was only getting around to getting it recorded now. And so thanks very much, Martin, if you're listening, for giving me that song. And I think it's just a great song. And also I recorded it down with Jonathan Owen, so we changed it up a wee bit from the original. It's a bit different, but it's quite country, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I remember years ago when he brought out that album, I had done an interview with him, and he was telling me like he's not on a big label, he's on a minor label, and he paid to get the record done himself. And I think his day job was he was in construction.
Yeah,
and
that's right,
he's only brought out 2 or 3 albums, and when you look back at the album, there's lots of other songs you could actually pick off it too. Great songs, He
definitely had great songs on that album. It would be hard to choose a favourite from the album. Fishing Forever was obviously one of my favourites from it, but he had a song, It Ain't the Clothes That Make the Man as well. Some great songs on that album, but just I think will go down well in Ireland as well for an Irish artist to record.
Yeah, and can I tell you, who would have been when you were starting off? Who would have been your favourite artist? Who did you like? Who would have been influential?
On the Irish country scene, I've grew up always listening to John Hogan and Mick Flavin kind of thing, but it's mostly the American country scene that I would have listened to. Sammy Kershaw, I'd be a huge fan of Keith Whitley, George Jones, and artists like that is what I grew up listening to. And even still today, I'd be even coming down the road there, just coming down the Burt Road, I was blasting Keith Whitley flat out coming down the road.
You mean you weren't listening to me?
I'll be listening to it on the way home.
You were talking about George Strait and and it's great to see George Strait. George Strait has a great song out. It was on one of his box sets. It's called "Kicked Out of Country."
That's right.
And the lyrics is great. It's all about the likes of him and the guys, Jones and Cash and Haggard.
The new country radio doesn't want them.
They'd be turning in their graves now if they heard what's coming out. I was mentioning the other night about Beyonce, she's a great singer and a good artist, but she is pop.
Yeah.
And but not just her, but a lot of stuff coming out from National now is pop. If you were at the CMA Awards the last couple of years, it's just pop.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can't agree with you there. Don't get me wrong. I do like some of that music. I can listen to it, but I can appreciate that it's not country music. And my roots have always stuck with the traditional country, which I grew up on and I love and still love to this day. But when the farm's good and the weather's good, I can still listen to the country pop as well.
You'll be heading up to Belfast. Is it only coming to Belfast this year? It's not coming to Dublin this year?
It's not coming to Dublin this year, no, just Belfast, the country.
I wonder why. 1 or 2 years I was up there now, and I would have gone to see maybe 2 of the acts that would be on it. And all the acts that are on, they're only on for about 20 minutes or half an hour. So I said I couldn't be bothered. Marty Stewart was up there one year. And I'd have gone to see him, or I'd have gone to see Dwight Yoakam, but some of the rest of them.
Yeah, that's right. I was actually there that night to see Dwight Yoakam myself. That was a great show we put on that night.
So come here, any word on a new album, or are you working on any material? Or are you?
Well, when I was just down with Jonathan there, finishing off that one a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about it, so we'll be getting back in the studio now in the next maybe 5 or 6 weeks' time, and we'll be setting down all the tracks to finish the album, maybe take out another 2 or 3 singles before the album's finished, but we will be working on it the next couple of weeks, so I'll be looking forward to that as well.
And come here, gig-wise, how are you doing these days?
I'm doing a lot of guest spots, Tommy, and I've
they're
a lot
very popular at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of private parties in there as well. That I done a grade 18th there in Ballyyar there last weekend, and I have a 40th birthday party coming up next weekend. sorry, I have country to country next weekend, and the weekend after I have a 40th birthday party. So a lot of private parties there as well, which is good to get. Like,
right, so we're going to give it a spin, and thanks for coming up. And once again, do you want to dedicate it to anybody?
Just all your listeners out there, Tommy. I hope you enjoy it, and when it's out on Friday, I hope you can all get requesting on Highland Radio. So thanks very much, Tommy.